Today on the CTV News at 5, a final plea for clemency is underway for a Canadian on Montana's death row. Plus, the harrowing tale of a litter of stowaway kittens from Oklahoma to Alberta. And no, you can survive. She's loving it. Stephanie Savage is back for McHappy Day.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. The only Canadian on death row in the U.S. began his clemency hearing in a Montana courtroom today. Ronald Smith pleaded guilty and was sentenced to death almost 3 decades ago. The Red Deer man was behind bars, exhausting his legal appeals, and now only an order of clemency from the governor of Montana will save his life. CTV's Janet Dirks is in Deer Lodge, Montana.
Handcuffed and shackled, 54-year-old Ronald Smith was escorted into a Montana courtroom to plead for a last chance, to try to convince a parole board that his life be spared after he murdered 2 young men nearly 3 decades ago. Smith's sister testified he deserves mercy.
It is guilt and shame and remorse that he continues to live with, something that most of us cannot even imagine.
Smith's daughter wept.
He shows his remorse in his eyes and in his voice. Anytime we talk, it tears apart. I wish I could take away that pain.
In August of 1982, Smith was hitchhiking with 2 friends in northwest Montana when the trio decided to steal a car. Smith had a gun. They were picked up by 2 young Blackfeet Nation cousins, Thomas Running Rabbit, 20 years old, and Harvey Madman, 23. They marched the young men into the bush. Smith shot each of them in the head. When caught, Smith pleaded guilty and asked for the death penalty. This is what he said in 1983.
There's no feelings of guilt involved with the killings. No remorse or sorrow.
Soon after, Smith changed his mind and has been fighting to avoid execution ever since, saying he is a changed man. The family of the victims feel differently.
All these years, it still hurts really bad.
They say Smith deserves to die.
We just want him executed. It's as simple terms as that. We want him executed. You tore our entire family apart.
Smith himself is scheduled to testify. When the hearing is over, the board will make a recommendation to the governor of Montana. He has the final decision on whether Ronald Smith lives or dies. Janet Dirks, CTV News, Deer Lodge, Montana.
And that hearing is to wrap up tomorrow. Crowsnest Pass RCMP are investigating an email fraud in which large sums of money were transferred to an account outside of Canada. Police say they received a complaint April 28th. A local financial institution received several emails that were supposedly from one of its clients requesting money to be sent to an account outside of the country. Now, police now know that the emails originated from Nigeria and that someone had hacked into the client's email account. Members of the commercial crime and tech crime units have been brought in to help with the investigation. 11 Lethbridge residents are facing charges after police busted a drug trafficking ring in the city. The investigation took 8 months and involved the province's new ALERT program. ALERT brings together Alberta's most sophisticated law enforcement resources to tackle serious and organized crime. On April 27th, Lethbridge police executed a search warrant at a home along the 1800 block of First Avenue North. Inside, officers found $2,500 cash, replica airsoft guns, 10 cell phones, cannabis, narcotics, drug packaging, as well as other drug paraphernalia. 3 women and 2 men were arrested inside the home. 3 others were taken into custody after a traffic stop along Highway 3. Carrie Stewart, Jason Wilson, Joseph North Pagan, Georgina Archibald, Mike Brown, Shawnee Stewart, and a 16-year-old male are all facing drug-related charges. All are from Lethbridge. 4 other men have also been charged, and warrants have been issued for Ben Mitchell, Said, Araf Ali, and Christopher Durego. Police say the group was moving between rental properties to try and avoid detection, and they are encouraging landlords to conduct thorough background checks on prospective tenants. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information should please contact police or Crime Stoppers. Well, Dory, it looks like there's going to be a break from the rain today, but it's not going to last.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of that break already, Jackie, in the form of, the clouds parting, a little bit of sunshine comes through. But tonight we do have a chance of seeing a thunder shower. The best day in the upcoming few days is really Friday. We'll be in the double-digit mid-teens and lots of sunshine. So that's the day to be outside if you have yard work to do. I'll tell you more details in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. An evacuation alert for 2 areas of Kimberley, BC has been lifted, but residents are being told to be ready if the water rises again. 33 people in the Wallinger Avenue and Morris subdivisions were forced from their homes last week when the Lois and Kimberley creeks flooded from melted snowpack. Hardest hit last week's were the families in those areas, and they are going to be continuing to be cautious in the area. Now, a much-anticipated report on MLA compensation in Alberta has been released. A retired Supreme Court of Canada judge was appointed by Premier Alison Redford last year to review all MLA pay and recommend possible changes to make the system more transparent. Among the recommendations, MLA pay should be a single amount with no extra compensation for committee work. Base salaries for MLAs would be $134,000 a year, but it could go up to $201,000 for House Speaker, ministers with portfolios, and the Leader of the Opposition. The Premier's wage would go up to $268,000. The recommendations also include that MLA pension plans should be reinstated and that the tax-free allowance be retained. Well, Lethbridge's 2 MLAs were in Edmonton this morning for a 3-hour meeting with Premier Redford and other newly elected government MLAs. Greg Weddick and Bridget Pasteur were re-elected under the PC banner. Weddick says the meetings that this week have been going on have been general in nature and more of an opportunity to meet some of the new candidates who've been elected for the first time. Weddick will continue working as Advanced Education Minister until the Premier names a new cabinet. The Premier will also have some holes to fill. 4 cabinet ministers were defeated in the recent election, and a 5th didn't seek re-election.
Well, what you do at the first meeting is really you get to meet the new team because there's 20-some new PC candidates, so get a chance to meet them and talk a little bit about their constituencies and then have a look at the budget that was just passed so that everybody kind of understands where the province is going, what's been laid out in the budget.
Meanwhile, Alberta's official opposition, the Wild Rose Party, has released its shadow cabinet. Littlebow MLA Ian Donovan has been appointed as opposition critic for agriculture and rural development. Pat Steyer from the Livingstone-Macleod riding will speak to sustainable resource development. Gary Bickman from Cardston-Tabor-Warner is the critic for advanced education, while Jason Hale, representing the Strathmore-Brooks riding, will speak to energy. Blake Peterson from Medicine Hat, arts, culture and community services, and Drew Barnes from Cypress Medicine Hat riding, infrastructure and transportation. Well, it's a remarkable story, and no one's sure how 5 baby kittens were able to survive a 3.5-day journey on the back of a flatbed truck. But now they're being cared for by volunteers at the Lethbridge Humane Society. Terry Vogt has the story.
It's feeding time for the newest arrivals at the Lethbridge and District Humane Society. 5 tiny black and white kittens, not quite 2 weeks old, still unable to hear, their eyes just starting to open, but eager for another meal from a tiny bottle.
I feel like a glorified milk bottle, yes, and they know that I'm their milk bottle.
Longtime volunteer Lainey Shields is providing a foster home for the kittens, who somehow survived a 2,600-kilometer journey from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Lethbridge. It's thought the kittens were stowaways in a load of steel piled on the back of a flatbed truck. The load was covered in shrink wrap before the trip, and the kittens were discovered Monday when the truck stopped and an employee saw something moving under the shrink wrap.
I think there was a mom with them because they were not dehydrated.
The mother cat has not been located either in Tulsa or Lethbridge, but since the kittens were in good condition, it's believed she must have been feeding them up until shortly before they were rescued. Shields is now taking the mother's place, making sure they're bottle fed, stimulating their bodily functions, and monitoring their progress.
Eat, sleep, pee, and poo. That's all they do. And I have to get them, like I call it, I'm pottying them, because they don't do it on their own.
This little girl is just 13 days old, and right now it would be easy to give her away. But it's going to be at least another 4 months before she's ready for adoption. One of the kittens has already been spoken for. The truck driver who brought the kittens back to Lethbridge has asked for one of the female kittens and plans to call her Tulsa. Terry Boat, CTV News, Lethbridge.
When the kittens are 9 weeks old, they'll get their first vaccinations. The female ones will also be fixed before they're adopted out. It's McHappy Day in Canada, the day that McDonald's donates $1 from selected items to local charities. As Michael Popove reports, it's also a day to welcome a local singing sensation back to work.
You know you can survive.
Stephanie Savage is back to work helping raise thousands of dollars for local charities. She's fresh off her appearance at the Voice of McDonald's singing competition in Orlando, Florida.
Coming back on this day was really important for me because it gave me a chance to welcome the community back and just be involved in the charity, and I didn't want to miss that, so it's great to come back today.
Oh, perfect timing. I mean, how could you not be proud of her? You know, second place out of 20,000 contestants around the world, and she's joining us back on McHappy Day. Perfect timing.
Hand me on that time, he said, but it's fine.
Stephanie Savage.
When it was, I guess, the winner was decided, it was like, at first, you know, the little heart drop, but it was good because out of all those people and those talented people that were part of the top 16, I placed second, so it felt really good.
Would you like fries with that, sir?
Proceeds of the sale of selected items on McHappy Day in Lethbridge will benefit the local family center as well as Ronald McDonald House. Overwhelmed by the support from her hometown, Stephanie says this is a great way to say thank you.
Incredible. Just like the support from everyone, it's really shown me how much people will pull together when you need them, and it's been crazy but amazing, so I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Michael Popove, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Stephanie is in talks with a record producer, and she'll also be starring in her very own national McDonald's commercial. Students at a North Lethbridge High School are going without food in the hopes of fighting the world hunger. The 30-hour famine kicked off this morning at Winston Churchill High School. While these kids are abstaining from food, they were in the gymnasium at school making sandwiches for clients of the Lethbridge Homeless Shelter. Organizers hope that this experience will help put things in perspective for students, faculty, and parents.
It means quite a bit for me anyway. I am really involved with the homeless in our community and with World Vision, and so yeah, just being able to do something and give back is really awesome.
The 30-hour famine will conclude tomorrow at noon. In the markets today, a lot of down arrows. Here's a look at the final numbers.